I'm Elizabeth, I'm a literary princess. If you are new here, welcome. I have a PhD in English literature with a focus on Victorian women novelists, and as you might expect, I love to read. Today I have my December wrap-up for you. So I read 5 books in December. Well, I should say I finished 5 books in December because I was reading several others, but they are long, and I either have not finished them yet now, or I just recently finished them in January. So, 2 of these books are for an event that was Katie from Books and Things Victorian Christmas Read-Along. And then we've got just some other stuff, including one carryover from November. So, let's jump in. First up is that November carryover, and that was for my 18th century novel project. This is The Italian by Anne Radcliffe. So I really enjoyed this. It is a Gothic novel focused on... What is this focused on? I guess the romance between Elena and Vincentio. I don't speak Italian, I don't know how to pronounce anything. And the troubles that arise in this relationship because they are of unequal class status, and Vincentio's mother gets her confessor, Father Schedoni, who is a real villain, to interfere. And it's a whole thing. The Inquisition's involved at one point. This was a great Gothic novel, very suspenseful. The Gothic scenes were like perfect. It is slow at some points, and I'm like, my God, Radcliffe, move along. But ultimately, I really enjoyed it. I do have a whole video on this if you want to know more about my thoughts. It does include spoilers, though. Although I try very hard in that one to keep away from some major spoilers, because I really do think it's better if you go in knowing very little about the plot. But yeah, this was 4 stars and I had a really good time. Next up is The Fate of the Tierling by Erica Johansson. This is the 3rd and final book in the Tierling trilogy, a series that was my goal to finish this year. So, now, I've given this 4 stars. However, the more I think about it, the more I actually dislike how this ended. Like, I really do not like the ending. Like, the last 50 pages, I was just like, nope, it ruined it. But, like, other than that, like, the rest of the book, I was like, was really good and was on par with the rest of the series. We are following Kelsey, who is a young woman who has now come to claim her rightful place as queen of the country, and there's a lot of problems. It's very corrupt. There is a conflict with the neighboring country and their queen, the Red Queen, and it's a whole big thing. Obviously, I can't say much without giving spoilers for the rest of the series, but so like up until the last 50 pages, I was like, yes, I'm really liking this. We're good. The other 2 books are 5 stars, and then the last 50 pages came, and I was like, no, I don't like that. It felt like it negated everything that had happened in the rest of the series. So I was like, but yeah, the rest of the book was good. But now the more that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, no, the rest of the book was not quite as good as the other 2. So maybe this should be more of a 3.5 star, or even a 3 star. But then I do love the characters, and I loved being with the characters. So I don't know. It's at 4 stars for now. I'm thinking it might go down because... Man, it was a really disappointing ending, okay? Like, what the heck? What the heck? Yeah, no, you know what? No, this is not a 4-star book. This is a 3-star book. I am deciding that right now on camera. This is a 3-star book because I think about this ending and how much it sucked constantly. Like, when did I finish this? In December. It was like either at the beginning of the month or in the middle of the month. And I'm still thinking about it in January and how much I hate this ending. And like, it's so disappointing because I love the first 2 books. They were so good. And this ending just sucked. So yeah, I think this is a 3-star read because while I did enjoy everything up until that 50 pages, I can see where there were some flaws that I didn't like. So if it hadn't been for those 50 pages, I think it would have been a 4-star read. But those 50 pages just really ruin, almost ruin the series. Because like I said, it just negates everything. So I'm like, what? Why did I go through any of this? Why did I get to love these people? Why did I get invested if we're just gonna completely... Yeah, no, this is a 3-star book. And now I'm mad. Yeah, no, that's so disappointing when a series doesn't end well. Especially because I've been looking forward to this so much. I started this series years ago and loved the first 2 books so much and just didn't get to the 3rd one, didn't have time. And I've really been hyping this up, like, oh yeah, the end of this series is gonna be great. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna get to see all this stuff, and then... disappointing, really disappointing. Yeah, so... Sadly, I can't recommend this series. The first 2 books are fantastic. Maybe there's somebody that's written a fan fiction, like replacing the 3rd book. I should check on Archive of Our Own for that, because I'd read that. Should I write one? Write one. I don't really want to write one. I want other people to do it for me. I want the book to have been written right the first time. And yeah, I know, like, right is what the author wanted, but... yeah, just really turned a fantastic series into, like, a mediocre series. 3 stars. So next up is the first book for the Victorian Christmas read-along, and this is The Rose and the Ring by William Makepeace Thackeray. This is a very interesting little book. It is a kind of children's fairy tale set in like a magical world with fairies who give gifts and stuff and rings and roses that can make you appear beautiful. And we are following kind of the political intrigue that surrounds these 4 cousins who are princes and princesses. And we've got like an uncle who has stolen his nephew's throne. It was very Prince Caspian. I was like, did C.S. Lewis read this? because the setup for one of the characters really reminded me of the setup for Prince Caspian. So I'm wondering. But in addition to being a children's fairy tale, this is also very much a satire of like Victorian society and attitudes and politics. So it's like kind of a really odd mix. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was really cute. It's set up as like a pantomime. So it was like, I guess, supposed to be performed with like these, not puppets, but like paper cutouts of the characters or something. At least that's what I understand. And so he's often like talking to the audience of children who are watching this pantomime, which is really, really interesting. And I could see having a lot of fun reading this aloud to children in the future. But yeah, it was a fun time. I gave it 4 stars. Definitely odd, not at all what I was expecting. Like, I don't know. It was just very different, especially having only read Vanity Fair by Thackeray, and like they're both satires, but it's an entirely different thing. But I know a lot of people over on Discord weren't very fond of this one, but I thought it was kind of cute and fun and definitely different, so 4 stars. Next up is one that I read on audiobook from Spotify just because I wanted to. And this is A Spindle Splintered by Alex E. Harrow. This is a retelling of Sleeping Beauty. And we are following Zinnia, who has this rare condition that nobody has lived past the age of 21 with. And it is her 21st birthday. We are in the real world to start with. Like, this is our world. Her best friend throws her a Sleeping Beauty themed birthday party for her 21st because it is her favorite fairy tale and she studied fairy tales in college. And got this like really cool looking antique spinning wheel. And so of course Zinnia, you know, goes to touch the spindle and prick her finger, ah ha ha. And when she does, she is transported into another world, a fairy tale world, where she meets Sleeping Beauty. She has fallen into the fairy tale. And now she and the Sleeping Beauty character, whose name is not on the Goodreads summary because that would be useful. Yeah, no, that would be useful. But the two of them are trying to find how can they break this curse so that the Sleeping Beauty character can live and not fall into this enchanted sleep. And also, can something in this fairy tale world cure Zinnia? And also, how is she supposed to get home? Because her family and her best friend are freaking out. This was super fun. Like, this was just a good time. A really enjoyable retelling of the fairy tale. I really liked the character of Zinnia because she's just an absolute nerd about fairy tales, which, like, I totally appreciate because I am a nerd about fairy tales quite frequently. And you can tell, like, Harrow really knows her stuff about fairy tales. Like, she was talking about the different variations of the tale, and it was great. It was great. I had a good time. There was sometimes that I was like, I don't know, like the, like pop culture references and kind of like the, I don't know, the 21st century tone just kind of like too much for me. And I was like, come on. Come on. Especially at the beginning, like before the plot had really started. But once the plot was going, I really enjoyed it. The narrator of this was quite good. Who the heck was the narrator? Amy Landon. She did a really good job with the different voices for the characters, but like not too much. Like it never felt like over dramatic. But you could tell the difference between each character and their dialogue. So yeah, no, this was just really fun and a good time, and I gave it 4 stars. And then the final book that I read in December was another one for the Victorian Christmas read-along, and this was The Christmas Hirelings by Mary Elizabeth Braddon. Another Christmas novella, I would say for children, although there's quite a lot that adults can get out of it too. We are following Sir John Penlyon, and him, one of his friends, and his niece are like kind of gearing up for a boring Christmas at his home. He doesn't have any family that lives with him. He's estranged from one daughter. And they're like, you know, Christmas really isn't Christmas without having some children hanging around. So his friend comes up with this idea to hire some children to come stay for Christmas. And he gets these 3 siblings, and they lighten up the whole place. Like, they make it truly a magical Christmas. This was the sweetest story. Like, oh. I loved seeing Sir John's relationship with these children, particularly the youngest girl, who they call Moppet. And, like, it was just so wholesome. But it wasn't, like, overly sweet. Like, there were some actual conflicts at the end. And, like, it got very emotional. And I got worried about how this was going to end. And, like, like almost crying. Not quite crying, but almost crying. And I don't want to say too much more because it'll give it away. And I think this is really worth reading. And like, just a good classic for Christmas time. Like, it's not a Christmas carol, but nothing's a Christmas carol. But I think this should probably have kind of classic status, like a Christmas carol. Because this is just a fantastic Christmas story that, again, anyone of any age can enjoy. Children will think it's really fun. Adults will appreciate the more serious aspects. It's another one that I am hoping someday in the future to read to a child because it would just be a really nice time. So I give this 4.5 stars. Like I said, I really liked it. There were some things toward the end that I was like, I wanted a little bit more, I guess, for the resolution, but ultimately it's just a great story and I really enjoyed it. That is my December wrap up. Let me know down in the comments, have you read any of these? What did you think? What did you read in December? If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to see more of my bookish content. It has been great chatting with you. I will see you soon. Bye.